Washington State and Oregon State. Is it time to add them to the Big 12 conference? Maybe. This is, a couple of you. I want to preface this conversation by saying this isn't just because they both played damn good football going into this year. That's part of it, no doubt. However, this is also because I have taken this in the last year and paraded it around as my flag saying, hey, these two universities might deserve a spot in the Big 12. And what we've seen in recent realignment conversations with this conference, it almost makes more sense now to me than it did 6 months ago, as we've recently seen the emphasis of football and the Big 12. The emphasis of what Fox wants to do, what ESPN wants to do, what the NFL is doing with TV. That is the moneymaker. The premier moneymaker in college sports is football. These two schools who have been left out to dry are still winning at the football thing, are selling out their stadiums, and are drawing massive amounts of eyeballs across the nation. Washington State is one of the most viewed teams. They were only behind, of the Big 12's additions, only behind Colorado last year in viewership. You talk about Washington has the Seattle base. No. Like Baylor's biggest viewing base, and this is a bad example sometimes because Baylor is much worse viewership-wise than Washington State, but Baylor's big viewing base is Dallas. That's where the alumni go. Washington State pulls Seattle as much as Washington does. Washington State pulls the entire state of Idaho and any regular person in Washington. For Oregon State and Corvallis, that's not a massive market, but it's a fan base that I honestly can't put on the same pedestal viewership-wise as Washington State, but I can tout as one that loves football. What the Big 12 did, can I say something very, a little controversial here? The Big 12 added Houston, who is not UConn. It's not like Houston football just sucks altogether. But the stadium's not great. The football culture there is not great. They just fired another coach, or fired their coach at least. And yeah, they had success at the mid-major level, but will they have long-term success? Tough to say. What can you point to for Houston and say, oh yeah, they will because of this? You say, well, they're in Houston. They have the Houston market. Okay. Boston College is in Boston. It doesn't make them overly valuable in football. You have to win. You have to invest. You have to have the right, for you to say that Houston was an elite or great addition to the Big 12. They just fired the AD. They fired the football coach. The finances aren't great. Basketball is carrying over there. Then you go to Cincinnati. Okay, not only do they lose, the Pittsburgh thing doesn't really matter. You say, okay, long term, can they win? Have they proven enough that they can win? Maybe. Yeah, well, Cincinnati's big, sure. It's also home of the Bengals. There are other competing markets there. It's not like, oh, well, that's a city full of Cincy alumni. And, man, when Cincinnati's on, everybody's turning their eyes to it. Houston football is the 9th biggest show in town there. Cincinnati football is not the biggest show in town. Okay, what about UCF? Yeah, Orlando makes sense. BYU, yeah, BYU makes sense. What about Arizona State? Yeah, Tempe, can they draw? There are questions about a couple of Big 12 teams that are here right now on, for Washington State, especially now that they're winning. And we know that consistent winning will put you on a pedestal in realignment. Oh, you can't win your way to realignment. Just because you're good doesn't mean you get to move up. Wrong. Clemson, number 2 school in the state. South Carolina is the big one. They won for 15 years. Oh, well, they're the outlier. Okay, and they just proved it's possible that if you win, you can get into a conference. Eyeballs, exposure, those things, winning, those things matter. Washington State has that. Somebody sent me an article. They're like, oh, well, they're number 61 or 62 most valuable programs in the country per medium. Am I missing something? I'm looking what Medium just told, regular Mark's not going, okay, medium.com, is Washington State going to make me money? That's not happening. Fox and ESPN executives aren't going, let's see, Sportico.com, will I make money off school? And more than that, and that's some of the logistical side of, TV deal, which is the most important part, by the way. More than that, they are good at football. And if you watch these games, oh my gosh, I had chills. Texas Tech's a Big 12 team. Washington State beat them 37-16. You just held a Kitley offense, a Baron Morton-Ran offense who threw the ball 58 times. 58 times. You just held that offense to 16 points. Your quarterback ran for 197 yards. Oh my gosh. And they did it in front of 28,000 people. You go, that's not a lot. Oh, if you watched it, I had chills watching this game for Washington State. The fans that showed up, I watched a video of Oregon State beating San Diego State 21-0. The fans that showed up in Corvallis, that were rocking in that place, that showed that, hey, there's a football culture here. Awesome. And they're not in the same way that Tedesco Stadium, or however you say it in Houston, is not a world-class facilities. These stadiums aren't. We have expanded west already, though. You have a clear cut. Hey, here are the teams that are around you in expansion, and here, BYU and Arizona aren't that far off, and you've been at a conference with Arizona State and Colorado and those guys. Now that it's the winning football thing, Oregon State beat Utah last year. Now that you're winning football games, now that you have the eyeballs, now that you have, like, hey, we've been in a power conference, there's an allure there, and maybe more than anything, this sucks. And this isn't, more than anything, here's why the Big 12 must add them. No. To me, though, what makes it feel personal, I saw it with Oklahoma State. Are they going to go to the Pac-12? Are they going to go to the SEC? Where's Texas Tech going to go? The Big 12's falling apart. Those two schools got left out. Cal, Stanford, got to go to the ACC. SMU is in the ACC. And you left out Oregon State and Washington State. Imagine being a fan of Cincinnati. Imagine being a fan of Baylor. Imagine being a fan of UCF, of a Texas Tech, Arizona, and you got left behind in expansion. That sucks. And it's the reality for those two fan bases. And I just hate it for them more than anything else, and hope that for their sake, the Big 12 says, you know what? And not even maybe the Big 12, but a TV network says, you know what? We'll pay. We'll sign off on this. Please. These fan bases, these passionate people deserve it. And these two schools who saw a mass exodus, Washington State's athletic director left to work at Washington. Oregon State's head coach left to be the head coach of Michigan State. And yet, they're still winning, beating the brakes off of San Diego State, who's good, who's been an expansion conversation piece, beating the brakes off of Texas Tech, who's in our conference. I think there's staying power there. I think there's something there, and I wouldn't be shocked now that we learned that basketball and UConn's off the table for a bit. Wouldn't be shocked if we go football-oriented with these two schools. Said it a year ago, wouldn't be shocked. Still wouldn't be shocked. They need something. And if it makes sense from a TV standpoint, Fox and ESPN will do anything. Unlocked on Big 12. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I love you guys. Tell all my friends today about how much I love you. This has been It Always Will Be. Come back tomorrow for more college football. Locked on. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.